Do Skinwalkers Laugh Like SpongeBob? By SirDimmadome. This is something that pops back up in my mind from time to time, usually in my nightmares. So this guy I dated for a pretty long time in college was really into camping. He told me he used to go camping with his family all the time growing up, so it was something he loved to do. Admittedly, I wasn't the biggest outdoors type person, so as a substitute for camping under the stars, I agreed for us to rent a cabin on a campground for a weekend getaway. We had both just finished the last of our finals for the semester and were ready to celebrate, so we started planning for a cabin getaway with my best friend and his GF. After about an hour drive, we made it to the campgrounds, parked our car, and after picking out the rooms we wanted, got the celebration started. I liked the campgrounds we always went to. They were pretty spread out from the other cabins, so you had a decent amount of privacy and didn't have to worry about disturbing other people with your noise. We spent the evening drinking, grilling, and playing tabletop games we had brought. My friend group is bad at pacing ourselves, so by 10, we were almost ready to call it a night. We cleaned up our mess, and my ex was able to set up a mobile hotspot and link his laptop up to it. All of us were painfully indecisive, so we said, screw it, and started streaming SpongeBob from Amazon Prime, while vigorously drinking bottled water so we could avoid hangovers the next day. We watched around 5 episodes or so before we all were about ready to go to bed. So we packed up the laptop, said goodnight, and headed to bed. I was able to sleep for an hour or so before I was woken up by the sound of loud moaning and a headboard hitting a wall. I knew my ex was a light sleeper, so I rolled over to see him looking at the ceiling with a heavy annoyance on his face. We made eye contact and laughed, maybe from the sheer awkwardness of hearing our friends going at it. However, neither of us wanted to continue to listen to this loud-ass humping going on, so we grabbed my ex's vape pen and headed out for some fresh air. We sat on the bench right outside of our cabin and smoked and just chatted for about an hour. Maybe it was the moonlight, but things got a bit frisky and we ended up making out. As things were getting a bit handsy, I noticed I heard the sounded like clapping from somewhere in the distance. I knew my ex heard it, but I had to practically shove him away and force him to stop and listen. He joked that maybe it was someone else having a bit of fun, but it just sounded like that to me. It just didn't sound like that to me. We were about to pick up where we left off, but my heart damn near exploded through my chest as I heard a laugh coming from somewhere in the surrounding woods. A human laugh was one thing, but there was no reason for SpongeBob's laugh to be coming from the woods at 1 a.m. Anyone that has seen one episode of SpongeBob can instantly recognize the laugh, so I know what I heard. I felt my ex tightly grab my wrist, so I knew he had heard it too. We heard it over and over. It sounded like it was coming from a ways away, but it sounded so clear. It wasn't a continuous laugh either. Instead, it would start and stop, over and over. It would last for about 3 seconds, then start a second or so later. I'm not saying no other campers could have been assholes, but I really don't think SpongeBob was camping in the area. It must have went on for about 5 minutes before it suddenly stopped. My heart was pounding hard, but I didn't feel like I could move. I slowly got to my feet and tried to tell my ex we should head inside when I heard a loud-ass voice yell, "Hey!" It didn't help that it also sounded like SpongeBob's voice, but it sounded slightly deeper and a weirder echo to it. My ex jumped to his feet. My ex jumped up, this time finally realizing we were about to be in some bizarre Nickelodeon horror movie. I tried grabbing his arm and pulling him inside, but he literally wouldn't budge. That's when I heard something go zooming by my head and smash into a tree, right to the left of us. When I say smash, I mean it. Whatever hit the tree hit it so hard I thought the thing would split in half. I didn't need to witness anymore. I turned to sprint inside. Thankfully, my ex was right on my heels. We locked the door behind us and headed to our room, locking the door as well. We both laid there awake for the rest of the night, listening and waiting for the laughing to start again, or for something to go flying through the window. What we did hear was 3 solid and loud claps from somewhere close to our cabin, followed by the sound of a bunch of wood cracking. It only happened once, but it gave me the energy I needed to stay awake until the sun came up. As soon as we heard my friend and his GF moving around in the room my ex and I ran to knock on the door to let them know that what we heard. It took us a while to actually convince them, but after we finally did, they both looked pretty shook themselves. We decided to call the campground facility management office, who assured us this had been one of the slowest weekends regarding bookings and that no one had booked a cabin nearby. With that information combining with no one wanting whatever we heard to give us another visit, we decided to cut our weekend trip short. This is also probably a good time to mention that we went outside to see if we could find whatever hit the tree next to us. It took us about 10 seconds to spot the football-sized rock that had been launched at the tree along with the large crater it created. I promise you, this made us only pack up 10 times faster. We made our way back home, and after we had unpacked, I wanted to do a bit of paranormal research on the area. Turns out a very small group of people think the area is frequented by Skinwalkers, as people have heard voices of their friends coming from the woods at night, along with a couple of sightings of tall, slender men with long hair wandering around near cabins. Yeah, we began to frequent a lot more beaches after that.